Hey, welcome back to ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. What's good for you on a Friday? Hopefully, ATL Day Ones is good for you. And hopefully,
Yes.
everyone on the Locked On Sports Network in Atlanta. You can check us out on all platforms where you check out your podcast audio wise. But if you want to see us and you want to see our counterparts, check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, like, and as always, feel free to send us comments because, hey, we appreciate the comments and we appreciate the feedback and the support. So, you know who else appreciates good support, a good supporting cast? Hawks owner, Tony Ressler.
Yes.
Tony Ressler
Love it.
had his end of season wrap up, if you will, with the media recently, and as of yesterday afternoon, in fact. And he talked about some things looking back, looking at where the Hawks are now, and looking at the future of the franchise. As we all know, the Hawks were lights out in how they wrapped up the 2020-2021 season. Not so much for 2021-22 as far as the expectations for them, right? So we
Mhm.
had the comments from Travis Schlink a couple days ago in acknowledging that yes, they thought they'd run it back. No, they did not, and they know they've got to make some changes, and they're willing to do it. Now Tony Ressler comes back yesterday and really just confirms and co-signs on what Travis Schlink said. I'll read you a couple quotes, Jarvis, and then I want to fall back and get your feedback. So two quotes that kind of stood out for starters. Yes, I think we should have tried to get better rather than bring back what we had. That won't happen again. It was a mistake, in my opinion, at least. Tony Ressler also said in relation to going after some of the big name, big ticket players that are going to be available in free agency come summertime, going into the tax does not scare us. What you think about those two comments? I know you got thoughts.
Yeah. So first off, the first thing to come to my mind is that they are united. Not Atlanta United, but the Hawks are on a united front. They had
Yes,
discussions about how we're going to present ourselves to the public, and I think that they're on board with how that presentation went down because we know
agreed.
we heard from Travis Schlenk about hey, maybe I shouldn't have done that. He even thought out loud during the season,
Yeah.
about that, and talked about that, potentially making moves and everything like that. So I just really appreciate because Tony Ressler is some people may think of him as a meddling owner, but I think he just has his finger on the pulse of this team,
Agreed.
man, because he
Absolutely.
he talks with the players and see what's going on with them and see how they feel about how things are going on. And I absolutely I like that, you know what I mean? Because there are some owners who try to meddle and don't really know what's going on and try to look at ticket sales and all
Mm-hmm.
that type of stuff. I think that for Wrestler to come out and say what he said about admitting to mistakes and that speaks to the fan base, right?
Yes.
That lets them know that, hey, we're not going to act like something else is going on when we know
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. Like
Yes.
that other organization that's up 85 and 985 and on up. We ain't gonna say no names, but y'all know who we're talking about. And you can fans respect that, right?
We
Because
do.
that's all that fans ask for. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to act like or the organization to make it seem like they're dumb. Like, we see what's going on. We saw what
Mm-hmm.
it was. We saw once Miami uh, had that defensive game plan for trade. There was nothing. There was no backup plan.
Right.
Now, some of that's on Nate. Some of that's on the construction of the roster. Like I've said plenty of times, T, how this roster is currently constructed, it cannot continue because a lot of these guys are so much alike when it comes to defense. Everybody has the same approach, except for Clint Capella maybe and
Yeah.
DeAndre Hunter. Like outside of that, everybody else like, oh, okay, yeah. And I throw DeLon right in there as well. I can't forget about my
Yes.
guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
D'Lo is in there as well. So yeah, outside of those guys, it's just like you don't know what you're gonna get on a
Mm-hmm.
night in and night out basis. So I appreciate the united front that they're on and saying that, hey, I messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Schlenk messed up. Nate
Yes.
McMillan messed up.
Yes.
So, but we're gonna get this correct. And I think that there are going to be changes, whether hook or by crook.
Yeah. And you mentioned something there and wrapping up, which I thought was also powerful too. There is a nuance to how Tony Ressler approaches his commentary. It is okay to speak on your GM and speak on your head coach and say that they underperformed without it feeling like you are throwing them under the bus or feeling like there is discord
Put him on the
or
hot
a
seat. Yeah.
disconnect. Yeah, I walked away from listening to those comments and rereading them and hearing those comments from Tony Ressler, feeling like, nope, they're still a united front. This is no different than what Travis Schling said a couple days ago. And this is no different from Nate McMillan even acknowledging that they fell short as a coaching staff. This was just Tony Ressler co-signing on what they said. So I think that's that other piece. When you're transparent all along, then when you make those comments, it's not controversial. Tony Ressler wasn't trending yesterday because he said anything controversial. He was trending nationally because he told the truth. He was just transparent. And he also spoke on what the co-owner, Jamie Gertz, has said from day one too. And she said it like 2 years ago. Okay, this is the last time you're going to see me at the draft lottery.
Yeah,
they made that clear.
No,
they came here to win. And they're talking win championships at the highest level. And when successful people like that are able to taste success like they did last season. You think a 500 season or slightly above 500 season and getting ousted in the first round in 5 games is enough? No, sir. Or as people say back home here, no ma'am, Pam, not going to work. Exactly. So really and truly, to me, he was just speaking in a very consistent tone that you mentioned, in a consistent tone there with what we've heard from the GM and from the coach. And on some level, as we've heard more from the players, they know that there's going to be some change. They know that there has to be change. I was guesting on a podcast last night and I was talking about that. And the one thing I talked about as well was, well, a couple things, but consistency was one of them, in saying that in order for you to reach those the upper echelon of, at a minimum, the Eastern Conference, if not the NBA, you have to have consistent true play, consistent two-way play, and you have to have a dedication in and out, night in and night out, to playing defense. And and it has to be a combined dedication, by the way. It has to be something where, yes, the coaches have that philosophy, but then the players also they really just buy into it. And they buy into it all the way down the bench. It can't just be one player who everybody just takes hands off and says, okay, Cece's got it. Cece's got us. No, this has to be something where everybody contributes. And think about this, Jarvis. Think about last season when the Hawks, for the most part, were at the bottom of the barrel when it came to defense. Slowly but surely, the back end of the season, they started creeping up. And then at the end of the season, into the postseason, they were middle of the pack, almost to the top, in that top 10 of defense as far as statistical categories. So again, we just appreciate that there was transparency and there was honesty, and there is an expectation for nothing less than excellence.
And also, and I know we got to get out of here, but I think the most important thing that he said was, I'm willing to go into tax.
Yep. But forget the tax.
Have to be competing for a championship.
Yes.
That's when that's the only way. Like I said, if it don't make dollars, it got to make sense, baby. So if Travis is going to make a move, I'm sure he's going to run it by. He's like, okay, this is what I think will have us in conversation for a championship next year.
And that harkens back to –
I'm all on board for that.
Exactly. And that harkens back to everybody's concern or their thoughts on why there wasn't a big move last offseason and why there wasn't a big move at the trade deadline, because the thought was, oh, wow, word was the Hawks didn't want to give up everything that was being asked of them, or they just did not want to rise to that level of paying players. Well, now Tony Ressler is saying there is no dollar level. There is no salary cap for what it is that we need to do to make this a championship team indeed. So when we come back, we're going to have our championship conversation that we call For the Culture, which matches sports, entertainment, and a little bit of whatever we want to spice it up with when we come back on the other side. It's ATL Day Ones. We'll see you in a few.